Pain, trauma, depression, struggle, fear. For any veteran, these feelings can rock them to their core. But when those boundaries are met, what do you do? Do you cave in? Seek the bottle? Let it all end? Or do you fight? Do you seek help? Do you rise above your circumstances? For one man who's been through some of the worst life can offer, hope and healing are found in the paws of a dear friend. This is his story.
My name is Toby Yarbrough. I was a sergeant in the United States Army, and I was born in May of 1965. I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. I was born in California at age of 7. We moved from California to Arkansas. In between to the final move, my father and I, we went to Arkansas on vacation, and he was getting a lot of stuff prepped for the major move for the whole family in 1972. From there, we lived in Hope, Arkansas. Most of my early childhood, was living in Hope while we was getting the main property, all set up to live out there. Once we moved out there, we had horses and a regular farm. We had chicken houses, and we had pigs, and we had horses, and had cattle. And during harvest time, everybody is close knit. Everybody help each other out. When it's time to cut hay, everybody comes over and they will cut, one neighbor's one day, and then the next day, they'll come over to cut somebody else's. So it's a real close-knit family, and so everybody knew everybody. If you need help, I had to just pick up the phone because back then it was a party line, so you had at least about 6 or 7 families on one phone line.
Toby's desire to serve his nation started at an early age in Arkansas. The events that followed would go on to set the course of his life.
I decided to join the military in my early teens is because my neighbor was Paul Clips. He was a World War II pilot, Air Force pilot. One Sunday after church, he asked my parents to go flying with him, and my dad said, well, we're busy this weekend, how you got plans, but the following weekend, we went flying. And pretty much every Sunday after church, it was a routine. I fell in love flying airplanes. He showed me the ropes and molded me on what I need to study to become a pilot for the Air Force. So I knew how to fly airplanes before I knew how to drive. So I took my physical for the Air Force, failed my flight physical, and so my dream was shot.
But luckily for Toby, this wasn't the end of his dream. His cousin suggested that the two of them join the Army on the buddy system.
So I checked out the Army, and they had a program as a mechanical engineer. I'm like, well, I worked stuff on the farm with my hands and farm equipment. I was like, I'll give it a try.
Grenada was Toby's first assignment after joining the Army. The young man was nervous to be deployed so far from home. But as he soon found out upon arrival, the fighting was finished.
Well, at the beginning, I was like, I knew that when I joined the military that there was a lot of action going on in Grenada, because that was in the early 80s. So when I hit Grenada in 83, it was pretty much the tail end of the conflict. And it was like, okay, I'm going to hit a combat zone. I'm 18 years old. A lot of the senior NCOs, I'm going to just veer off and get feedbacks off of them, because they've been in combat. They've been in Vietnam, and Korea and everything else. So I want to listen to them if I'm going to be, in a combat. But once I got there, it was a cleanup job. Everything was done and over with. It was the stuff that we tore up, we fixed. And we fixed it better than what it was.
During Operations Desert Storm and Desert Shield, Toby and his crew were in charge of maintaining a variety of equipment. From M16s to Humvees and even tanks, every mechanical item used had to be functional and ready for combat. On a quiet day, these tasks took time, but sometimes they became even tougher with the threat of airstrikes and falling debris at any given moment.
Being in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, in a combat zone, it was like night and day from actually working, living in the barracks and everything else. You have a lot of missions going on, but prior we was getting everything prepped for the war. And that was doing hand-to-hand combat. We were doing a lot of drills, so we were making sure our equipment was up and running, make sure everything was ready to go. And we prepped and we trained. And so when it finally hit, we was ready.
September 11th, 2001. A day that will forever be remembered by every American in this lifetime. Everyone was affected after that tragic day in some way, even Toby.
I can still remember to this day, I was at the motor pool. I was working on a D7 dozer, and one of the guys was coming out of the bay and say, there's a plane that hit the tower. So everybody stopped what we was doing. We went in and we got a phone call and everybody said, go to the battalion. And everybody went to the battalion, went into the classroom, and we was watching. By that time, we seen the second plane hit the tower. So we was like, why in the world somebody ain't stopping this? And then next thing we knew, another plane hit the Pentagon. And then somebody, these people would save their lives, and stop the hijackers, and the other plane went down in an open field. I was thinking back, I got called, I said, I gotta make phone calls. Because my brother-in-law at the time, he worked in the Pentagon. And it was just lucky that he was, where the plane hit, it was on the opposite end of where he worked at. But I didn't know. But also, he was not there at the time too. He was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, on the day that it happened. But there are a lot of family members, and it's like their lives change because between 15 to 45 days, their loved ones, they left. They got deployed. They went overseas. And some of these are very young kids that never seen combat, and they're like, okay, what we want to do? I tell them, you know what? You do what you're told. I already got, I said, combat stripes. I already have combat patches. I've been in combat. I said, you listen to the senior people. They're going to save your butt while you're over there. And luckily enough, everybody that was in my last unit, they came home. So that was, a blessing on me that I knew that everybody came home.
During Operation Enduring Freedom, Toby was in charge of a contact team attached to the Air Force and the Marines. First one's in, first one's out. If something broke down, they fixed it. The constant rotation of work was stressful, but there were still moments of relief.
You turn around and tell a private, say, you go to the 2 room or hey, go over there and see that sergeant there. He's in the contact team. Tell him that you need a can of AIR. And like, AIR? They don't know it. It's like, so they walk over and say, hey, Sarge or specialist or, Sergeant so-and-so came over and said, need a can of AIR. Oh, well, we knew what was going on, so I'm sorry, I'm fresh out. Go see so-and-so in the 2 room, parts room. They might have some, can in there. And then he'll turn around and say, no, go over there, Bravo Company, and see if they have it. So we have this private all day. He's going to different motor pool, trying to find a can of AIR, which is not, but it says air. But we had one guy, he was really smart, because he turned around and said, yeah, I need a can of AIR. He walked up towards me, and I said, he said, Sergeant Yarbrough said, I need a can of AIR. And I was like, I don't have any in my truck. Go in there and see Special Goble in 2 room. And he got halfway going in, and a light bulb just went off in his head. He stopped, he turned around, he went outside the motor pool, got to his truck, opened up his vehicle, and came out with a can of air. And came back to the sergeant and said, here's your can of AIR. And he just like, it backfired on him, because we knew he was going, no, it backfired on him.
Toby's team got a call one day that a front-end loader was down with a flat tire. The team responded to the coordinates and began the process of changing it out. As they put on the new tire, the machine shifted.
When it did, it flipped, and it pinned me down. I pushed the guys that was with me, told them go. It was going, and I slipped and I fell. And when it did, it caught me, and I broke my back in 3 different places. I broke the C1 and C2 vertebrae, the T2, T3 vertebrae, and my whole lumbar was totally crushed. They had fused my neck together, fused my back together, and put rods and stuff in my lower back. It was a very painful, first 5 years of my life was very painful, of multiple surgery. And doctor's like, don't know if you want to walk again. I like, it's grace of God. I mean, it's him. I'm leaving it in his hand. It was something for me to have this, and for me, I left it, I told him, I said, meant for me to walk again, it's meant for me to walk again. You did this for a reason. I don't know, and I'm accepting it.
I was really shocked. It just seemed surreal that someone would be injured like that and be upright and walking and talking and survive something like that.
Then, dealing with all this, I realized I also suffered a severe traumatic brain injury, which caused me to have grand mal seizures, and it damaged my vocal cords and stuff. So I had to learn to really retrain myself from like a child, learn how to walk and crawl, and had to go to speech therapy to learn to halfway talk again. My short-term memory brain was shot. I could be talking to somebody, and then 5 minutes later, I walk away and come, okay, who was that person I was talking to? I wouldn't, for the longest time, I still do it. I still have sticky notes all over my house. Or got a calendar and it has nothing but appointments on what I gotta do. I have people remind me, don't forget, you gotta take your meds. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. And it's very, it's, excuse my French, a pain in the butt, because you got people telling you what you gotta do for the rest of your life. In a way you kind of feel helpless, but they're there for you. And I've realized that, they love me because they're my family, and they just want to make sure I'm going to be there for them.
It's very important because family is everything. I love my family. I love spending time with them, and I really honestly wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, it's everything to us. We don't have a lot of outside friends because we spend all of our time with our family.
Living with PTSD every day is like put your life in a snow globe and shake it up. Okay, and you see your whole life just floating, and then when it falls down, it's never in the same spot. Okay, that's what, in a way, to me, how I can kind of explain what PTSD is. Because another way to aspect is watch the most horrible horror movie that you ever seen, picture that, and multiply that by 10 times to 20 times the effect. And then you get a very small glimpse of what we live through every single day, that fear. We are in very high alert 24/7. You don't know who's coming around the corner. You don't know, what's going on. Your senses are so in tune that they're, how can I say it, they're more heightened than normal.
He had to sit in a certain place, and it seemed like he would be scanning the room, and he was listening to me, but he was busy scanning the room the whole time.
Because you have to live off your senses, and there's no way of turning it off like a light switch. It's on 24/7. So living with PTSD is a nightmare within itself, because one day was normal, the next day you're living in a movie that is a horrible movie that is a repeat over and over and over in your mind. And that's the only way how I can pretty much try to explain it to somebody can understand what we're going through every day. I mean, that's just just my thoughts, my expressions. Other people who has it can tell you something different, but that's the best way for me to tell what PTSD is. When the doctor diagnosed me having seizures, and I was warned to have a service dog, I was in a way of, first of all, how to get one, and second of all, is like, do I really need one? And we're having major seizures and stuff. Yes, because they can sense it quicker than you can, and they can get you more help. I was very leery of getting one, but I'm glad that the doctor did recommend me of getting a service dog, because back then when I got Duke, ADA didn't recognize PTSD as a disability. You can have an emotion support animal for PTSD, but you couldn't have a service dog for PTSD. So it wasn't for 4 or 5 years after having Duke that ADA finally realized that, what, we need to put PTSD as a disability, and it was warranted for service dogs. And that's when a lot of organizations stepped up to the plate. I knew I wanted a German Shepherd because I already had a female Shepherd, and it belonged to my wife at the time. But I wanted the true Shepherd. Found a breed actually bred the true European Shepherd, and he was a Vietnam vet. He lived in Georgia, in the same town I was living in, and talked to him, and found out he actually his Shepherd was pregnant. He told me, if you get a male, I want a male Shepherd. I said, if not, I'll take a female, but this is going to be trained for my service dog. So when Duke was born, he was born on March 18th, like 3 o'clock in the morning, because it's like every 30 minutes I got a phone call, from the owner saying, oh, got a female, another one coming, it's female. Oh, this was, it's a male. Then we're like, yeah, cool, we got a boy. We're on our way. So 30 minutes later, my family and I was holding him, when he was 30 minutes old. And every day for 30 minutes for 8 weeks, I got to hold him and got to play with him. So I started having that bond with him. I knew that he was going to be special. You know, I knew that he was smart, and he was going, you know, he was going to be a good fit. So that's how I said I had backup, because when I first met him, it was like he was 30 minutes old, and ever since then he's been with me. Training with Duke, or actually getting Duke, he was trained, like I said, he was trained for me, but at the beginning it wasn't an instant connection. I knew he was there to help me. I was very picky when we were out and about. One, I wasn't, you know, ready for that transition, but to me, in my mind, I wasn't really ready to have a service dog 24/7. But just one day, you know, we were just playing around at the house, and then, you know, it's like he just knew I was just having a off day, and he just came up and just stuck his head on my lap, you know, and just looked at me. He's like, you know, everything's okay. So that's when I knew, excuse me, that bond was there. And it's been there ever since. And he's my lifesaver. He's my wingman. Without him, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, I hear you, old man. He don't have to speak. I mean, it just through their actions, you can look at their facial expressions on their unconditional love for you and the willingness to be there for you no matter what. And that's where that bond started. It wasn't instant connection. It was about a year after having them when it connected, that he was there for me. He wasn't a pet. He never meet me out. He never greet me at the door when I come home, because he was not home. He was beside me 24/7. Wherever I went, he was beside me.
The relationship between my dad and Duke, it means the world. Everybody needs someone or a pet or anything to kind of like make things a little bit easier.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to go do, but I couldn't do because I had him. I mean, my life changed a lot having him, but it was for the better. I mean, I had a lot of great memories of doing stuff with him, and I'm thankful for it, because he has saved my life many times. And he's my best friend. I'm sorry. I learned through Duke that you live life daily. Every day is a challenge, but you live your life of fullest every day. Looking through Duke's eyes and through his soul every day, you see that they don't have no care in the world. They don't care what happened yesterday. They don't care what's going on for tomorrow. They live by the moment. And watching him day in and day out for 14 years now, I just live one day at a time and give 100%, or try to, during that day. I might have a good day and I might be outside for a couple of hours, or I might have a bad day and I might be locked up in my office all day. But he's with me 24/7, and he has that unconditional love for me. And he can tell when I'm having a good day or a bad day, and he's there. And when I'm having a bad day, he'll give me his ball. When he was younger, we'd go play ball. You know, now he's old, he just rolls his ball to me. But it's just the unconditional love that we have for each other now.
Over the years, Toby and Duke have had many adventures together, from meeting celebrities and being on TV to traveling by land and sea.
He got to meet the captain of the ship and all the crew, and he got spoiled for the week he was on the ship because the head chef came and asked if he could give Duke some scraps of, I don't care, I'm on vacation, where I go, he go with me. Yeah, this one, this is really cute. I was back home in Arkansas, and we was in Hot Springs, and there's a fountain, and it's actually hot water comes through it 24/7. It's natural hot water. Well, this is right around the holidays, and it got snow on the ground, and we was out walking, looking at the lights. Well, Duke turned around and seen this look like a swimming pool, and he hopped in, and there was never hot water. Snow on the ground, the dog jumped in, about 2 foot of water. He hopped in and he hopped out because that water is about 90 degrees, and he didn't know if it was hot or cold. It was too warm for him. It was comical. He hopped in and he hopped out, and it was like, he kind of looked like, I tried to tell you it was hot water, dog. Duke likes to go swimming. I remember my kids kept on hollering before I had my in-ground pool, had a above-ground pool, and my kids kept on hollering, Dad, what? Get Duke out of the pool. He's in here swimming. He jumped in the pool and go swimming with the kids. So got an in-ground pool and trying to turn around. I put an underground fence around it to keep him away. Yeah, it didn't work. But he loved it so much. It's like I talked to a friend of mine that for the American Red Cross, and said, you know what? Is there a way we can train a dog to become a lifeguard for swimming pools? And he said, yeah, sure. He said, we can do this and this. So he worked with Duke, and Duke got trained to become a lifeguard for swimming pools, because we had all the guys I work with had little kids and stuff. So when they come over for barbecues and stuff, and they're swimming in the pool, we're watching them, but he was also watching them quicker, and he can go in quicker than we can. But also he liked to go in and go swimming with the kids anyway, and the kids loved it. So it was just, it was pretty cool.
One of the key factors in Toby's recovery was the hyperbaric chamber. He first learned of it when he met a woman named Sarah at a combat veterans event.
My name is Sarah Stoltman, and I am the owner of Hampton Roads Hyperbaric Therapy, and also the co-founder of Heal the Warriors.
So we were talking, she said, have you ever tried hyperbaric treatment? I'm like, no, but I'm game for for any type of treatment, and if it works, I'll let other people know, because I'd rather be a guinea pig, and have alternative treatment than being dosed with medication. And so she explained to me the situation.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy consists of breathing 100% oxygen at greater atmospheres. This is done in a hyperbaric chamber that simulates pressures 5 to 50 feet below sea level. The pressure then forces the oxygen to dissolve into the plasma and is carried throughout the body. This helps to reduce inflammation, stimulate stem cell production, and begin the growth of new blood vessels.
The pressure actually forces the oxygen to dissolve and saturate every tissue, muscle, bone, and fluid in the body to accelerate healing. So when you have somebody with a traumatic brain injury, there are areas of the brain that are lacking oxygen, and so they're not able to function properly. So they kind of go into a hibernation mode, and the hyperbaric oxygen therapy over time helps to put blood flow back into those damaged areas.
When I went through the treatment, they done a pre and post testing thing, and mine was way off the chart on everything, from memory to you name it. They had a big huge chart and everything else. Since my accident, I had severe pain. I am on hydrocodone. They switched me out on different type of painkillers so my body will not get used to it. I take seizure medication, memory loss, ever since my accident and everything else coming back, you know, through the different disability from PTSD to TBI. I lost my marriage, constant pain. For almost 10 years, I very seldom come out of the house. I have tried to commit suicide in the past, but luckily, you know, it just wasn't there. You know, I thank the good Lord every day. But other than that, I mean, I have yelled, I had a scream, I had panic attacks. I mean, it's frustrating. It's very, you know, it's.
Yeah. It's hard.
When I got done, I was almost back to normal. I wasn't all the way in the green, but I was from way up here to the chart to be, you know, really, really close. Hi, I'm Sgt Yarbrough. I'm a retired Sergeant of the United States Army. I just got to complete a 40 treatment dive here at the HYPERBARIC chamber. And the 40 treatment, there has been I have noticed a lot of improvements. I'm more on being able to concentrate. In the past, I wasn't being able to. I hope that they get more research and everything else and get grants and stuff that they need, because it's a good program. I'm glad I got, you know, to get into it. But also I noticed that when I was going through it, that it was working because my short-term memory bank was totally gone through my traumatic brain injury. I couldn't remember anything, you know, I couldn't remember talking to somebody 5 minutes after I talked to them. And at the same time, I was going to school. And prior to going, you know, doing this, I was failing college. And now when I was going back to school, going through this, and I was remembering what my professor was telling me. I was comprehending my assignments and everything else. And it's like, you know what, this is working. Because my first semester of college, I had a perfect 4.0. My second term, I had a 3.89. You know, it's like, hold on here. In the past, I was failing all these classes, and now I'm making A's and B's. And then I also realized that my seizures was slowly diminishing. So something was working.
I noticed a huge difference in his speech. He was able to have a full-on conversation without stopping and saying every other word. He would lift his arms up because he was frustrated trying to figure out what he was trying to say. I know that he had a lot of seizures before he started, and that stopped for a good 2 years after the treatment. His personality came out. He was always joking around, and his wife was very happy, and you could just kind of see that the old Toby was back.
So going through the 40 dives and stuff, after it, not normal, and I would never be normal, but it had helped me enough that I finished a college degree, not only associate, but a BS degree, and I graduated my BS with a 4.0 GPA. On top of, I gained 20% of my short-term memory bank when it was totally gone. On top of this, I literally seen other veterans going through this, and it really had helped them with their PTSD. I have seen actually help with people that has dementia, has high blood pressure. I seen a little girl that first 5 years of her life wasn't speaking, and after her 5th dive, she turned around and spoke to her mom and told her mom that she loved her. 5 years of not talking, and then after the 5th dive, she was talking to her mom and went from a wheelchair to a walker. So something's going on. Our body is healing our own self, and it's an alternative of having ourselves heal than being doped up with all these medications. Because right prior to all this, I was taking 9 to 12 different types of medication daily. And now I'm just at the point of my basic stuff I have to pretty much survive.
So if you can start out with the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, your headaches are going to go away. You're going to get the sleep that you should be getting, 8 to 10 hours a night, and you're going to be able to think of what you're trying to say, your cognition's going to improve, and all of that will allow you to function better every day in life. It will allow you to do better in physical therapy, speech therapy, your job, go back to school, have a better relationship with your family. It just kind of allows you to do everything else better.
My seizures, of having grand mal seizures 4 or 5 times a week, I down to maybe having once every 3 months going through this, on top of having short-term memory gone and slowly went from 0, part of your brain that's totally destroyed. On top of I have what they call a clear malformation, which just means I got a hole in the back of my brain and it's leaking fluid. It actually healed up with a bone, with the axle bone shoved up in my brain, which caused me to have my seizures. My brain is totally scrambled. So it actually made a blood clot around a bone that's shoved up in my brain that they can't take out, because I do, they'll kill me. So they left it in there. Stuff's happening. You know, the body is healing itself. And I see it. And you know what, if I can shout it out to the whole world, you know, try it. You know, it might work for you. I mean, you're not taking any drugs. All this is, you are just breathing pure oxygen in a weightless atmosphere.
I don't think that I could ever explain it in words, how rewarding it is to see people get their lives back. Sorry. But it just makes me keep fighting to make this available for people.
Nothing that lives lasts forever, no matter how much we love it, no matter how much we want to keep it around. Duke is no exception to that rule. Toby's first glimpse at the passage of time in his aging friend happened on a regular Saturday morning.
Went on vacation 2 years ago, and it was normal. We went out into town. I mean, it was on a Saturday morning, and we went out in town. Just got out of the vehicle, walked maybe a block, and he went down and he was hollering. I mean, like he was hurting, like somebody shot him. I mean, he was that much pain. I turned around, you know, Carol and I, you know, turned around, and it's like, okay. He wasn't moving, period. He was down. He was literally down. And at that point, it's like, okay, something's wrong. She helped me get him back in the vehicle. And I said, I'll be back. I want to take him back to the condo. And at the time, I said, I'm gonna call the vet, see what I can do. And I'll be back shortly. You can take care of the grandkids and go have some fun, and I'll get back with you later.
Toby quickly called the vet and asked what he could do to help Duke. Unfortunately, he was in North Carolina, 8 hours away from his home.
So what can I do to help ease his pain, whatever? So they told me what to do, because I explained the situation. And he did the rest of the week. I left him at the unit, and we did some stuff here and there, but we didn't. That week, we went out maybe for a couple hours, and we came back because I knew he was there, and I knew, you know, he needed my help and everything else. Or Carol took the grandkids out, and I stayed back in the unit with him for the rest of the week.
And it was heartbreaking It really was.
Got back on vacation, got me in, and they x-rayed him. And it showed that his right hip, he does not have hip dysplasia, he never had that. It's just that he was an old dog, okay? He had severe arthritis in his joint, in his hip joint, and also his whole spine from his neck to his tailbone is all deteriorated. So the vet turned around and said, you need to retire him. And I couldn't do that. I know I had to. I knew it was going to be hard. At that stage, I cried because I didn't know how long he had. Because having his spine totally deteriorated, so I know what he's going through in a way. So, only thing we do is they say he was healthy and everything else. He just had put him on pain meds to help ease the pain for him, and had to ease up on his activities. And I'm still active, so my life totally changed 180 degrees. I have a very sick puppy that's the love of my life, that has saved my life so many times, 13 years. Well, let me say 14, because he'd be 14 in March. And now it's my turn to take care of him. But at that time, to take care of him, I have to find someone to take care of me. I have to find a replacement for him. So that's how I feel. I mean, I'm losing my best friend. I don't know when it's going to happen. I mean, that was about almost 2 years ago when he went down. He's still doing okay, but I don't know. I mean, I live day by day with him, and I just pray that he live, another, couple more years.
With Duke now in so much pain, it was time for Toby to start the search for another service dog.
When I found out that I had to retire Duke out, I got in contact with a lot of rescue organizations and to see what, rescue dogs, what kind of dogs they had. I was at the ASCPA looking at dogs, and I seen this pit bull mix and had a meet and greet for this one. And that same day, I walked by her cage, and I walked by and we just connected. I went back and I said, you know what? I told the people that volunteer at the ASCPA, there's another dog from here I want to look at. They said, which one? And I went back, got the case number. I said, oh no, you don't want her. I said, why not? Well, she pretty much been in and out of a cage for 18 months. She's not potty trained. She don't know how to do anything. I said, well, let me be the judge of that. Just bring her out. And they brought her out, and we just connected. Not only she bonded with me, but she bonded with Duke right there in the spot. It's like, this is my home, this is my family. So like I said, she was, I walked by, and it was just by fate. And brought her home, and she's been with me ever since. The first 2 weeks of having her was crazy. She tore up my carpet because she had to be crated, because I had to get her to see the vet, make sure our shots are up. Had to get her in a training program to get trained as a service dog. If she was able to become a service dog, she had to be assist. I had a trainer come out and look at her and see she was trainable. It was just by faith. I mean, that I walked by that day to see her, and she's been with me ever since.
Once Sasha became part of the family, it was time for her training to begin.
Difference between Sasha and Duke, they are like night and day. Duke is laid back and chilled. His training is had trainers, so once I got him, he had to go to training, and then once he got to a certain phase, then I was brought in. At the beginning, Duke had to do what they call the canine good citizenship training, and it's a basic part of making sure that he lays down, he stays, he comes to you when you're on command. He's right on cue, on command when he's out in public. He's not aggressive towards anybody. Duke was trained for my seizures. I had literally be off my medications. I was monitored by a doctor and with a trainer. So when I was off my medication, then Duke can sense when I'm back to have it. And the trainers were training Duke on what to do when I was having seizures. So he was smelling my pheromones way before I was about to have it, and he'll go get his backpack. And so it's easy access for him. He'll go get it, he'll bring it to me, and that tells me, okay, I gotta take my medication. Only time he ever jump up on me is when I gotta lay down, because I'm about to have a grand mal seizure, and then he'll lay down right beside me and make sure I'm safe and go through the process. With Sasha, she was with me when I got her, and I had a trainer that kind of helped me train her. Steven, he was really good from TADSAW. He was really good. He'd been an Air Force vet. He was a dog handler for the Air Force, and he volunteers for TADSAW.
My name is Stephen Friedman. I train dogs for the Air Force. And in addition to that, prior to the Air Force, I've been training dogs since I've been 16. Being with TADSAW is unique. I have PTSD, and I knew that with PTSD, I was able to get a dog and have it trained, but I had no idea where. So what I did was I called around and I found TADSAW. It's TADSAW, that means Train the Dog, Save a Warrior program.
So he knew how to, he's seen the potential in her. He's seen the potential that I had because I already had a service dog. So the training for Sasha was totally different because I already had started working with her because I had her tethered with Duke, because I knew what the regulations, ADA regulations was. Because having one for 14 years, you know the laws in and out by ADA. And training her the same way that Duke been trained.
We worked with him to do everything that any other dog would do. And finally, within just a few weeks, he graduated because he really wanted to make his dog, and he worked hard, make his dog a service dog. And you know Toby now, you know what this dog is capable of, and you've seen it. I'm proud of Toby, and I'm proud of Sasha too, but mainly Toby because he did the work. Sasha just followed him.
They set the door at your vehicle, and they won't move till you turn around and tell them to get in the vehicle. When you're at a restaurant, they go up on a table and they lay down. They don't beg for food or anything else. They just monitor you because that's what they're trained to do.
What we do is we train heel, stay, down, sit, take a break, which means that they don't have to listen to commands and they can go out and do what they want to do. And we do it so the dog enjoys this.
He's really good. I mean, I just want to be the best that I can, the best trainer that I can for Bo. This dog saved my quality of life. I know he's going to be with me until the day that he dies or I die.
So I started working with her, but TADSAW sharpened my skills and sharpened her skills to become the best service dog to replace Duke, and she has. I wouldn't have another dog to replace Duke other than Sasha. She is in tune with me. For a dog that's been with me for just over a year, she is so in tune with me as Duke is for 14 years. So it's a blessing, and I thank God for that, because he knew that she needed a home and I needed another dog.
He advised me that he had a new service dog that he was trying to attempt to make a service dog, and then he had one that was just too old to work anymore. And I offered him free training, completely free, and we became friends after that.
And the program was really good. All the people he interacted with and the trainers that helped him out with her, they were wonderful.
There was a lot of difference financial on training. When I got Duke in 2003, 2004, it cost me $40,000 to have him trained out of my pocket. Back then, there was no nonprofit organization like Battle Buddies, K9 for Warriors, Dog Tags, or a few, and TADSAW, and Wags for Warriors, who step up to the plate and start a nonprofit organization to train dogs, become service dog for veterans, and it's free for vets. So there's a lot of stuff came in 14 years. 14 years ago, 40 grand out of my pocket to have Duke trained to become my seizure alert dog and my PTSD dog. Now, with Sasha was free for me. Other than, what I had to do to get her out of the dog pound and get her all the shots and stuff. So, $100 out of my pocket compared to $40,000 out of my pocket. The advancement with the nonprofit, since Duke been trained, been a blessing. As I said, because it don't cost a vet anything. And I know some organization, if you're a vet or a family of a vet, this means that you're a son, your daughter of a veteran that needs a service dog. A lot of times they're like, okay, you're part of the family, you want to get one. A lot of the organizations that are training these dogs, they are veterans. So it's one close-knit family. You're a vet. Doesn't matter what branch of the military you came from, they see that you need a companionship to live a normal life.
Despite the troubles in his life, Toby still has joy in his heart because of his dogs. Not just because of their service to him, but because of the fun inherent in them.
Take both of them for walks. Duke leads the way. And I let both of them just run. Just let run free, and Duke he does his little slow little walk, and she just runs up, and if she gets over too far, I holler, and she'll come back to me and say, okay, I'm back, and she takes back off, run, just like a normal dog. She's having fun, and Duke's having fun because he's with me, and he's getting his exercise, and he's happy. Also, this time I'll take both of them to Walmart because he wants to go. If he's in a good mood, he feels like he wants to do stuff, I'll take both of them. But both of them gets up and go work with me. People at my office that I work with, they got to run of the building. They go and and say hi to everybody and lays down by somebody oh, okay, I'm gonna go in so-and-so's office and chill. And they go in there and they lay down and they chill. But, they always keep an eye on me because our offices are so close together and our doors are open. Everybody loves the dogs, and it's a really great atmosphere because They just walk up, oh, hi, Sasha. Hi, Duke, how you doing? Pet, and they give them a treat, they're happy.
Having been a part of many efforts to help the lives of veterans, Toby, naturally, has strong feelings on mental health, how it's perceived in our culture, and the mistakes people make with veterans and service animals.
Our mental health is treated very poorly. I have witnessed that firsthand for 15 plus years. Our VA system is really bad off. We have waiting periods for veterans that go into for a simple testing to go in to actually go see a psychiatrist or psychologist or even get a x-ray done. They are waiting, up to 6 months just to get in. They want to throw more drugs on us than of looking at other alternatives to help us, and that is getting us service dogs, also using other medical alternatives like the hyperbaric treatment. I was going to turn around and say and VA sucks, and I'm going to say that very bluntly, and I can tell you as an example that I was real close to the VA hospital. My son took me there. We went to the emergency room because I was passing kidney stones, and I was puking in my own darn. I was low crawling and laying in my own puke. And the medical staff at the ER was walking over me and stuff like I was a piece of freaking statue or furniture and didn't want to help me.
And I'm in a lot of pain. I'm at the VA hospital. Can you come up here? So I said, okay. So hour and a half, almost 2 hours later, I arrived up there and looked everywhere for him and found his son Trey. And I got back into the room and he was curled up in a ball, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, have they seen you yet? He's like, no, they just put me in here. I said, no IV, no pain meds, no. And he was in horrific pain. It was horrible.
And my son got really pissed off and blew his top, and he was chewing everybody's butts out. And he said, you know what, my dad's in here laying in his darn own puke, dying, and you guys don't give a crap, and you want to give somebody a freaking darn Band-Aid.
I thought, well, gosh, who runs a place like that?
That's how sorry our VA system is. And I have never stepped one back in our VA system again.
It was really traumatizing, and I was like, I'm glad I don't have to come here.
Lucky enough, I am retired. I am medically retired on top of that, so I can go to a regular military installation that I can use their facilities. And I've gone through that because I got better care than the VA system. And I feel sorry for the people that has to go to the VA, and that's the only spot that you have. Because I have been there many, many, many times, and it sucks. Our VA needs to be totally revamped, fire everybody up in front, and start brand new. And maybe it might fix this and get our veterans the help that they need.
With the impact of Duke and Sasha on Toby during his lifetime, he strives to help legitimize the need for service animals in the lives of others suffering with PTSD. He's also very vocal against what he describes as fake service animals. His passion has led him to work with other veterans towards this goal.
I have actually talked in front of the Senate committee to act with other veterans, not only myself, but a group of other veterans, along with other senators, to pass a bill that every service dog will be microchipped, and every service dog will be in a special database that will show that the dog is trained by whatever organization, because they will have their ID from that organization. Like Sasha is trained through TADSAW, Duke is trained through the International Guide Dog Association. So with that, then through the database there, it shows that they are trained by a organization that actually trains service dogs. So when somebody have a law enforcement officer or a paramedic, whatever, are afraid to come in, and yeah, it's a service dog, whereas ID, they can pull it out, it's like a driver's license, and they can scan it, okay, and it will show that yes, this dog is a service dog, this is his name, this is the owner, this is what it's trained for, and everything else. And it's slowly going through that route, because there are going to be times that we're in the hospital and the dogs are with us, but you're going to need another handler to handle that dog while they're taking care of the owner. And so that's a lot of stuff that are in the process of actually being done now, because there are a lot of people are getting a vest and a fake ID off the internet and saying that their dog is a service dog, and which is not a pet. And this is my very pet peeve is that, guess what? If you are doing this, one, you're breaking the law, and two, you are liable for your dog. So you ain't thinking, outside the box, or well, what happened if my dog, bite somebody? We have to deal with our dogs 24/7 a day. We gotta make sure that dog is not aggressive. Even though you think your dog is not aggressive, your dog could be aggressive towards another dog or towards somebody else when he's out in public. These dogs are trained to make sure they're not aggressive, not a threat to other people out in public, and everything else. So that is, like I said, that's why I'm a big advocate, and I do a lot of public speaking and helping senators in Congress, to pass these laws for people that pretty much saying their dogs are service dogs and they're not. And that's what, hurts us that actually have service dogs.
After hearing of all the struggles and troubles that someone with PTSD goes through, it seems overwhelming to the people who want to help those affected. Luckily, Toby always has advice for those who want to help.
There are a lot of classes are out there that will give you the basics of what we go through. Okay? You never will understand what we go through in our daily lives. Nobody can unless you are suffering with PTSD. And every one of us suffer in a totally different way. We suffer in a way that is the same but different.
It's that fight or flight mode. Like, to somebody else, it might not be a big deal. Like, whatever situation it is, whether dealing with people or just something triggering it, but in your mind, you're going to die. Like, your mind can't tell the difference between this is nothing and this is like life-threatening. So I freak out. Well, that's what it looks like to other people, is I'm just freaking out about nothing, but to me, it's life or death inside my head.
Understanding is the first step of helping somebody to recover.
We lose over 22 people a day to suicides, veterans. Our job and my desire is to try to save as many as I can.
My dogs taught me about life. They taught me to live one day at a time, because they live in the moment. And with somebody with PTSD, if you live in the moment, you can enjoy life better than dwelling on the past. It took me a long time to realize that if you live in the moment, like my babies do, then you're happy, because they're happy. Have you ever noticed when a child loses its parent and it's over in the corner and it's sad, you see a dog curled up to him, it's right there. And just having, that child, emotion has changed. The child is still sad, but is also, it has a little comfort. And that's what these animals do. They give us comfort. They give us something to live for every day. I wake up every day now, and they give me life. They give me something to show every day, and it's something different every day. There's stuff, silly stuff that Sasha does, or something that Duke does. I'll laugh, you know. Or there were the little quirks of when I started playing with Sasha, because Sasha knows I'm down, you know, and she wants to see me play. You know, I was saying, Duke, he's coming over with his ball, you know, and both of them are fighting me to get my attention to both of them. You live in the moment. And when you live in the moment, you're happy. And when you're happy, you need to think about the past. And when you think about the past, your PTSD is not there. And it took me 14 years to realize that. But my baby's what taught me life and how to live it.
The amount of help, joy, and encouragement that Duke and Sasha have given Toby can never be fully expressed. It would take a lifetime, perhaps longer. But even still, there's another force at work in Toby's life that has given him strength beyond the lives of his friends, his family, and his dogs.
I was raised up a Christian. My uncle, preacher. So I already had faith. I guess it was me giving faith through other people, especially doctors, because my mom, was in the medical profession, that there are other stuff out there that can help us. But when I had my accident and when I woke up and I was on a flight going from Uzbekistan to Germany, and I realized I was alive, I put my total faith in God 100%, but without faith, there's no hope. And with there's no hope, there's no future. So for me to tell other veterans, one, I have been in your shoes. I know what you're going through. Have faith. And there are people out there that are in your shoes. You're not alone. If you need somebody, call. Call an old friend of yours. Call a family member. Call somebody. There are numbers that you can call that they were there and they're listening to you. And they feel you need help, you can get help. A long time ago, I was in your shoe of committing suicide. And I admit that, many times. But faith in God, there was something about, he did this for a purpose. He did this for a reason. And now I know why he did this, because now I can tell my story. It took me 14 years of having faith in God and hope that I went from a wheelchair to I'm walking. I won't be able to run. I won't be able to do a lot of other stuff, but I'm walking. I have faith in God. I have hope that I am living day to day. I'm enjoying life with my families. I'm enjoying life with my fur babies. God has a purpose. And that purpose to me went 14 years ago. I can see it now, telling my story to let other people know that you have a purpose in life. You might not know what it is now, but don't give up hope. Don't give up that faith. God has a plan for you.
You titled your book The Quiet Healing. So obviously your dogs can't talk like humans can. However, how have Duke and Sasha healed you without saying a word to you?
Their emotion. You have been with me for the last 3 days. You see their emotion towards me. You see how, come here. You see how happy, you know, they don't have to say a word, but it's their expression. They live in the moment. They're happy all the time. They know when you're sad. When you're sad, they're there, and I think your sadness turned back into happiness. I named this book The Quiet Healing is because they do heal us very quietly in their own way, one day at a time, in their own natural way. They do silly stuff and you laugh at them. They turn around, they come up, they put their head on your lap, and they'll look at you, you know, and you can look right in their soul, and it's like, you know what, yeah, I am having a bad day, you know, pet me, and you pet them.
They just, whether it's snuggling up with him or playing or just like pet me, you know, they're very persistent.
And you get that feeling of the love that the dog is there. The dog loves you unconditionally.
We're here, but they're right there. They never leave his side. You know, they're there for him and with him in ways that we can never be.
And 14 years, Duke has helped me with us. Sorry. Without saying a word, he has been beside me for 14 years. My bad days, my good days. He loved me unconditionally. When I'm sick, he's there. When I'm sad, he's there. When I'm happy, he's there.
They have this sixth sense that just makes it, they know what's going on and they can just kind of sit there. And if he's in a meltdown or anything like that, they'll just be there.
Without saying a word, I can look at his face and I can see his smile on his, I can see his sadness. I can see the pain that he's going through right now. Without saying a word. The bond of having an animal in your life is very emotional. And yes, I am very emotional. Because if it wasn't for Duke and now with Sasha in my life, I would not be here. I would have been a total alcoholic, or I have committed suicide by now, or I'd be in jail. But God put them in my life for a reason. And with that reason is to heal me slowly through my pain and my suffering of having PTSD, having a traumatic brain injury, having seizures, going through life experience in 14 years, and now telling a story of how two wonderful dogs not only have saved my life, but have touched the lives of other people that have been around them. I don't care for an hour or 5 minutes or 5 years. There are times when Duke was younger, I walk up, and I even do it with Sasha. A little child turn around, you know, they look and they say, no, you can't touch that dog because, you know, it's a service dog and stuff. But I see that child, you know, and I ask the parent, you know what, does your child want to pet, you know, Duke? You know, they said, well, yeah. And I asked, will you want to pet him? And they kind of like, you see the joy in their face. And I turn around and I put, you know, Duke in a lay down position so the child don't feel threatened because he's a big dog. And next thing you know, I have a 5-year-old just playing all over my dog in the middle of Walmart. And people are looking at me, well, you got a dog, you know, it's pet. You know what? You never know. That child right there might have some type of disability, might have autism, might have Down syndrome, might have something. You don't know what that child is going through. But you know what? You turn around, you look at that child's face now. That child got a big, huge, happy smile on that face because that dog was there and it changed that child's life. That dog does the same thing for me. Sasha does the same thing for me.
I think that Toby's dogs have completely changed his life for the good. I have never seen anybody bonded with their animal as much as Toby and Duke. I remember when he told me that he didn't know what he would do with his life if he lost Duke, and he's been with Toby every step of the way, and Toby is now there for him every step of the way, and I just think it's incredible.
I am at a point in my life that I'm healed enough that I'm not afraid to go outside and see the world and experience the world. I'm not afraid of doing stuff that I was when I came back from a war zone and been locked up in my house. I've been there. Now I'm at a point I can do some stuff that I couldn't do 14 years ago because of my babies. So why I call it quiet healing is because the unconditional emotions that they give out to heal us.